In today's episode, we will be talking about the fourth turning. Yo! I don't think I've ever said yo out loud before. All of a sudden it just felt weird after saying it. I'll see if I can find a better one. Not me, of a yo for you. Because this was nuts. This was a wild read. You're wild!
What?
You're wild! Written in 97, 3 years before 9/11, and part of it guesses on what happens in the future. Got some right, got some wrong, but you know, no one bats 100 for the future. You're gonna knock it. Anyways, yeah, was wrong about some things, was right about some things, but overall insightful, I thought. And with the concept of the book about how life is cyclical, I read, I don't pronounce. You know, there's a season for each thing, and the whole thing made me think about an older song that I'll put down in the notes, or I'll maybe pop in, we'll see. But you know, there'll be things will get really bad, but then a lot of times there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
It's hellfire, Dean.
Whatever.
You know, good things can come from it. You know, just because things are bad off now, which I think it's pretty safe to say, no matter what side of any argument you're on, whose side you're on, whatever group you know, call your tribe, no matter what, I think everyone kind of thinks that things kind of suck right now. Just a little. So to think that there could be hope, because there has been. We've had however many depressions in this country alone, apparently, which has kind of been nice to hear that we've had that and come through it. So, you know, we might be okay at some point. Yeah, it was just nice to kind of, you know, they don't sugarcoat it. Like, they're not gonna be like, everything's gonna be fine, it's gonna be great. They're like, it doesn't always happen. Empires fall. You know, it just kind of depends on how each generation pulls the country through. And so, yeah. I'm trying to do this with my husband home. But he's in the garage, so I may stop again randomly, but I'll come back. But yeah, it was a really good book, despite how long it took me to read it. I think I started it in November at some point, but then I got sucked down the Sarah J. Maas rabbit hole. But I wanted to finish this before I started the other series. And there's a second book that was written in 2023 by just Neil. The other author has passed, I think in 2007 it was. So I'm sure it'll have a different feel, a different vibe, a different flow, whatever it is. But I'm really interested to see what he thinks of what has happened since he wrote the last book. Because he's foreshadowing that things will come to a head in 2030.
What an odd thing to say.
If you know, you know. So, yeah, have to get my hands on that. That'll be my next nonfiction, since I just finished that, and I thought that was actually really good. I don't know, I thought I would have more to say. Thought I did. Yeah, well written. It's written to the everyday reader. It's it's something anyone can really easily understand. They're not trying to be smarter than everyone else and trying to have every word be like some thesaurus word. They want you to understand this information, which is really nice for people like me. The one gripe I did have with it was that I think it was a little disorganized. I don't know. If it were me, I would have, because they do a lot of reflecting back to past centuries and quotes and things, which I like the quotes. The quotes were good. But it's a lot. Can you say hi? Hey, mama. Hi. But it's a lot of back and forth between decades and centuries, talking about each season of a person's lifetime and kind of how that's supposed to flow. And they give examples of it going throughout history. And so it's nice to see. Get your tail out of my face. So it's kind of nice to see how it just keeps cycling. And, we come back. And, we go on for another while. I think that's why a lot of people continuously find whatever older generation was the good old days. Oh, if only we were back in whatever decade, that decade was the best. Well, of course it was the best. It was after a crisis. It was maybe in a high or the awakening. You'll see those terms in there. But yeah, it was when things were going well. There was little issues. Things were just functioning as they were supposed to. Everyone was getting along for the most part. But it cycles. So, I think the 90s were pretty good, but I was also a kid. So I'm sure I didn't know all of what was happening anyway. But, there are other people who liked the 50s or the 20s, maybe not the 20s, because I think that was a depression era, not the 20s. But, I think that's why there are so many people reminiscing about a past decade, because there were good decades, there were good generations. But yeah, I think this is worth the read. No matter who you are, I think you'll get something out of it. I think there have been some bad reviews that I saw, but I don't know. I vibed with it. It was good. You should rate it.